What's up, y'all? It's your boy Vinnie-Dangerous, and I'm back with another installment of Dangerous Minds. I It's been a long day, and I didn't gonna lie. I didn't even have the energy to put a shirt on, so that's why I just got my t-shirt on. We just gonna rock it. But yo, for this special episode, I got a returning guest of the podcast. Dope photographer, dope poet. One of my brothers out here in this creative like independent space that we in. Yo, my boy Southside Jus. Oh, and fellow 2-6, representative. Yeah, you
And
definitely got to throw that in there.
and 2-6 in the house.
First and foremost, before we get started with today's conversation, man, how you been?
Good, man. Been a long weekend, a long week for sure. For sure, bro.
Man, I feel you, bro. Like this has like consumed me so much. I ain't even really been able to focus on what I've been needing to focus on. It feels like.
Mm,
But before we get started, though, I want to make because by the time this episode comes out and by the time the next episode comes out, the election will be over. So I definitely want to encourage people to exercise they right to vote. I went ahead on the first day of early voting and got that out the way. I just was like, yo, I'm gonna go ahead and get this thing knocked out. A lot of forces that are trying to keep people from exercising their right. A lot of misinformation that has got people thinking that voting is pointless or whatever, or they have a problem, with the whole process itself. There's a lot of misinformation. So I just encourage people who are followers of this show to go out and like at least exercise your right, because it's getting crazy. It's already been a crazy year, and it's gonna get crazier depending on who we with in the beginning of 2021. So I definitely
for
encourage
sure.
it. But man, like speaking of voting, because this kind of ties in with today's episode, Ice Cube's platinum plan. And
O'Shea.
first of all, Ice Cube is a legend. Ice Cube is one of my favorite rappers of all time. Death Certificate is definitely my favorite album from him. America's Most Wanted is probably like second. Definitely been a big part of my creative process is like listening to Cube, listening to NWA, studying him, studying how he moved. Like he's always been a big influence to me. Um,
Man, Q was so big. Q was so big. I remember an interview Future did it, and Future was like, Q was one of the hottest artists in Atlanta at one point that he remembered. And I was like, that kind of shows how big Q was and how large his impact was.
mhm.
Q was so impactful when he did All We Did Yet. People was like, "Yo, what's this?" Like Q, that he is one of the greatest hip hop artists. Period.
Oh, without question. Like somebody had him as their number one, I wouldn't argue with him. Like it's just
I wouldn't either.
you,
I
you
wouldn't
know,
either.
but he's been in the headlines real heavy. First of all, like, I. What was your initial reaction, bro? Like, what was your initial reaction? That I know the headline you
Mm.
saw was the first headline I saw, which was Ice Cube is working with the Trump administration.
Man, to be honest, the first actual headline I saw was there was a thing about the Big Three League and
Mm-hmm.
his connection to Steve Bannon and
Oh,
and the connection to Steve Bannon, who's I ain't even got to go into who Steve Bannon is. He's a racist POS.
mm-hmm.
He was a backbone of the majority of Donald Trump's campaign ideologies in 2016. And when I read that, I was like, nah, man, but funny things happen in the world of business.
Mm-hmm.
But when I read the headline of the Platinum Plan, I said, what? The Platinum Plan sounds like a 2002 rap album.
Yeah, it kind of
Like,
does. I never thought about it like that, but yeah, it does kind of sound.
and I was like,
That
and then
sounds
when I, yeah,
like a, that sounds like a No Limit or a Cash Money album
you can
to
definitely
me.
see the
Like I
pen
can
and
see that.
pixel type. You can see like the pen and pixel type like album cover with the platinum playing. Somebody would somebody. If there ain't an album called the Platinum Plan from the early 2000s, I'm gonna be highly disappointed.
Yeah, I'm about to look that up now because now you got me curious.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like, so have you had a chance to like read the Platinum Plan, like, or his details?
I did. Now I'm not gonna say I necessarily. No, I did read all through it,
Mm-hmm.
but I've been meaning to further go into more details about Cube's alleged meeting with both parties
Okay.
and what's going on and his contract with Black America and all this and that. And man, it's kind of delved into a shit show.
Yeah.
I apologize for cursing.
Oh no, bro. I say everything on this show. It's cool.
Okay, all right, cool.
But
All right. That's all I needed.
because first of all, I was really pissed off about um like the misleading headlines and stuff because they made it sound like he was just meeting with Trump. He just got on their side and was speaking with them because he thought they were gonna win, and like he's making that deal with the devil because he doesn't either trust or he just never even gave the other side a chance, which I think is very misleading. And I think that's a big part of why it became the shit show that it is before people actually gave him a chance to really speak on it and like air it out. And unfortunately, he should have saw this coming because they do this all the time. They take
Man.
a little bit, like when he said the Democrats basically told him, we'll see what happens after the election. And, the Republicans told him that, they made some amendments. They had like a budget of what I think he said $500 billion on the table for Black America. He should have known that probably was going to be something that was basically something to kind of coax him and use this, because I mean, from what all the stuff that I'm reading, with different analysts and poll watchers and stuff like that, like that dissect the numbers, like they were basically saying that the Democrats are going to like sweep this year. I mean, we saw the poll numbers in 2016, and it obviously didn't happen the way that they predicted before. But it's almost looking a little bit more like you kind of see it in the tactics. You can kind of see it in the ads that not just Trump in the presidency, but like different governors and Senate seats and the House of Representatives. Like you see they're growing increasingly more desperate in their tactics on how, and I can see this is just another way of them trying to pull in the Black vote, trying to pull in people who may be a little bit on the fence about either side, that may be like, well, Cube is on our side and y'all like Cube, so let's pull him in. And I feel like he should have saw that coming. I don't think that meeting should have even happened like before the election, in my opinion.
Cube is being used as political leverage. And Cube, I think, is trying to frame this as a way of, this is our leverage, this is Black leverage. And, when the 500 million got brought up, I was like, you going to discuss something with a man that don't even want to send another round of $1,200 to all Americans. And now we thinking that, he's going to give Black folk 500 million. Man, if you look at that so-called Platinum Plan, it says in big white lettering, increase police presence in communities. And I was like,
dang, I missed that part.
That kind of tells you a lot about like
now, was
what's
that
going
the
on.
amended version, or is that
that might have been the amended version, but
okay,
something that I came across and saw, because there's so much information that's coming out, and Cube, man, it's so weird, because I was listening to a podcast, ironically,
Mm-hmm.
with Bomani Jones, and he was talking to comedian Roy Wood, and they was discussing it. And the funny part was, in it kind of, he said something that I low key have thought. This the same cube that made America's Most Wanted,
Mm-hmm.
Death Certificate, The Predator. Those political ideologies are. He's still the same, and I don't think that he's sophisticated his political ideology enough to really understand like nuance. Because yeah, you got guys like Rizza Islam dropping videos about, well, Malcolm X met with the KKK,
Mm-hmm.
Marcus Garvey met with the KKK, Dr. King met with Lyndon B. Johnson, yada yada yada. But it's to a point where with so much information that you can get, you know what this dude about, and it's not about putting black people's lives in the hand of somebody that don't care about black folk at all.
Mm-hmm.
To me, isn't the move. Money be damned, and going to a party, and whether side you fall on politically and ideology, you got most people, man. Both parties are crooked. You did blah blah say blah, but it's kind of like, I think that's more so of a selfish way of looking at things, and
Mm-hmm.
which most people vote for their own selfish rights. You're gonna have a lot of black folk. You're gonna have a lot of black folk that vote for Trump that make a lot of money because a vote for him keeps the money going, and it
Right.
keeps their status quo intact. And I think it's working with him is very dangerous. The people that surround him, his rhetoric, and I just hope Q. And I know Q feel like he's attacked. There's a lot of headlines going on about, he's working with Trump. I don't think he's working with Trump. I just think that at the end of the day, Q got played
Now,
as a
because I will say, I actually because you saw I posted that video from Rizza Islam, and that was new information for me about the different
hmm
meetings that MLK and Malcolm
hmm
X and Marcus Garvey had. And I mean, I felt like he made some good points. Like I don't agree with Cube taking the route that he did, but I understand because money is a big factor, and like money, trying to get funding for Black people would at least start, because a lot of our issues come from our lack of capital, our lack of disposable income, our lack of economic footprint in America. And trying to get that funding, I don't think is wrong. I don't think trying to get the money is wrong, or thinking
Right.
about the money is wrong. I just think it's kind of a pointless thing. It's almost like, because I mean, but then it makes me think about what mindset uh Malcolm X was in, or Marcus Garvey was in, to meet with the KKK. Um,
I think
like,
those meetings were more so separatist type of, yeah, we need to discuss, look, y'all have y'all land, we finna get our own land, we need to discuss so we don't have to commingle and coexist with each other.
mhm.
Yo, this, your nationalist group, my nationalist group, this what it is. I think no, it's not wrong asking for money, but to me, that's like the carrot that's being dangled over. Because at the end of the day, no matter how much money you ask for, no matter how much disposable income, these are the people that write the laws, that own the land,
Mhm.
that create, all of these things in play. Because it's like money just ain't gonna save black folk in
I
this
mean,
country.
it's not money, but like how we use money.
hmm
Like, we, because you said like they have the land, but if we had money to buy land, we'd be able to
Right.
kind of segregate that off. Like, with lawmakers are just pocket pigs. Like, when I think about like all of the protesting that was done for Breonna Taylor and George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery over the summer, and I think about how we end up doing these things, people taking rubber bullets and getting beat up in the street, and nothing happens, is because a lot of times, like, the people who make those type of decisions on whether to lock these cops up or even indict them in the first place are usually paid. Like, they usually have a money foothold, like a money contract established with these people. Like no matter how much of the city burns down, they got the money, or better yet, they're going to tax us for the money to get those buildings and everything put back up. But
Right.
it's like the people making those decisions but have a carrot dangled in front of them, trying to get that, like, putting money in their pocket, putting food on their table to make the decisions that benefit them. So I think, so like making that move for money is not a bad move.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the only thing I don't like is the fact that because he did it in the time that he did. Because the one thing I hate, like, and I talk about this all the time, is that there's a lot of reactionary, emotional responses with
Mm-hmm.
Black people with these type of situations. Like, we knew that situations like police brutality, people getting killed and nothing being done about it, we've known about it for years. And I don't think enough people got together to really try to come up with any type of solution for something like
Mm-hmm.
that until it happens again. Now everybody's thinking about it. Now defund the police is a react. If it feels more like an emotional reactionary response, instead of saying, hey, we know that they cut education, they cut public services, public community programs, and then give that
Mm-hmm.
money to the police station. Like, I feel like we've all known that information for a long time, and it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't seem to come up until situations like Breonna Taylor and George Floyd's murders happen.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like the same thing with this. Like, we've already known our economic footprint is non-existent in America,
Mm-hmm.
and being able to have the money and the capital to play these political games, to make those type of decisions viable. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that should have been done before it was used to an advantage of a political party.
And so to some of your points, I think a lot of times the emotional responses from a lot of folks, especially more specifically Black people, is because, especially when these things happen, a lot of times I do think it's really because, I mean, we know deep down that a lot is not going to change, and yet so we still continue to march, and we continue to protest, we continue to
Mm-hmm.
do stuff. And you see that in Minneapolis, we tore up some shit,
Mm-hmm.
things started to change. But it then there goes the label of, well, rioting and looters are very dangerous, very unsafe people, and blah, 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 blah. And I think the emotional response, I think, is justified, just because a lot of times we know it's not going to change, but we still have the capacity to speak up and protest. But we also know that none of this is going to change unless it comes from the actual source of systemic oppression and racism,
Mm-hmm.
which is white people. And I think the thing that actually gave me a smidget of hope was the amount of white people I saw on the streets. I was like, oh, okay. I said, I've never seen this before. I ain't never seen this many white people, even remotely, in the streets for systemic racism. And even
Mm-hmm.
white folks like, okay, this bullshit. Like, what are we doing here? This is kind of nuts. And so, and I also think with somebody like, another point is with somebody like Cube, I think we got to remember too. Most black folk ain't a monolith in this country, and they're not. I also think people that look to, when people, when we say we want to, I don't think it's always safe to sit at the same table as an oppressor and discuss things.
Yeah,
Now,
that I agree with.
I'm not necessarily, I don't knock a Marcus Garvey or Malcolm or Martin for doing these things, to discuss laws, to discuss certain things that black people might be, they might feel like, as a black leader, that black folks might feel a thing or want or need from so-called leadership in countries. Excuse me. But I also feel like, when you sit down with these people, you kind of know. And the differences between them and like Q and black celebrities, Malcolm Martin and Marcus Garvey, and they are politically trained to sit at these tables and to discuss policy and to like. I love Q, but and I don't think that he can't. Cube is a rapper, and I think that Snoop is a rapper. All these people are celebrities, and I'm not saying that celebrities don't deserve to, but man, all money ain't good money. All
I mean, because
every
I can see the big difference with a Malcolm X or a Marcus Garvey is that they were organized too. They came
yes,
from a position
that's
where
the word I was looking
they
for.
had because I know Malcolm X didn't roll up by himself. He rolled up with
He
his
rolled up with
brothers
the nation.
with the Nation of Islam. Like I know Marcus Garvey had his Pan African group, like his organization, like he had them with them. And I think that's the difference, because like they had those meetings, and this just be theorizing, but like they had those meetings and then they kind of came from like their own position of power. Like they had, because in any type of real agreement, you're going to have some type of leverage. You're gonna have something, or at least be able to position yourself in a place where they see you as just as valuable, even if it's not the case, because we all know that white arrogance and the ignorance of racism, they'll look a gift horse in the mouth. They'll look a gift horse in the mouth and reject it. But
Man,
they'll have that white pride like trumps everything, even if it's to their own detriment. But because one of the things that Cube, because I've been seeing a lot of people talk about how Cube, is a celebrity, and I've had a few people ask me like, well, why are these celebrities being able to get these meetings with Trump and not actual
man,
leaders and organizers?
I'm gonna keep it a
And
band. I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry,
oh,
bro.
no, go ahead.
I don't want to see no motherfucking Dr. Umar sit down with no motherfucking man.
Yo, that
Oh
conversation would be
man,
wild. That
man,
those two trying to
if I
sit down
see,
and have a conversation, that shit it'd be worse than a debate.
bruh, bruh,
Yo, Umar
or
gonna slap
so-called people that's pronounced as black leaders, or I just be like, nah, man, I just I
That's the
wish
thing
that
too. Like because one thing about people that are labeled as black leaders, we don't have any. We don't have any that are trusted. That will
and there's not really any groups either that's like when you
because
look at
everybody is
certain
cynical.
groups.
Like nobody trusts the Black Panther, nobody trusts the NAACP, nobody trusts Al Sharpton, nobody trusts the Jesse Jackson and Omar Johnson. Like everybody is put under a microscope. So who else is he going to meet with? Besides, and then the fact that Trump himself is a celebrity, and I
Yeah,
can't remember who said that, but it's like he doesn't relate to people who are actually organized
nah,
and are put
nah.
better put together, because there were some holes. I know that people brought up the fact that Q's plan didn't really include black women, which is a big
Uh-uh.
which is a big admission.
It didn't. It didn't. And I
So
was like, yeah.
but
Whew.
Trump is going to have those meetings with somebody that he feels like is on his level to a certain extent, and that's the
Fucking
level of
Omarosa and
celebrity.
shit.
Yeah,
He
like
gonna
he's
he
going
gonna
to
have
talk to them.
Omarosa speak for all the black women. He's gonna have them little tiny ass hands and shrug Omarosa.
That's why he had all those celebrities at the Trump Tower when he first got elected. Like he had all those black celebrities there. He wasn't trying to meet with
Hey,
nobody that's actually organized.
hey, bro, let me tell you something about that, bro. Real talk, bro. Man, looking back at that dog,
It was a bad look.
it was terrible.
But
Dog, it was, man.
the thing
Steve Harvey,
that sucks is that,
Kanye, like Ray Lewis, like nigga, no. What are you doing?
well, okay, we see who they are, because I think that's the difference between them and this Cube situation, is that I think I feel like his intentions are in the right place. And that's the part that I think I've been arguing with a lot of people is that he might have got played, but I don't think because people basically coming at him like he sold out. And I don't think his heart was in the wrong spot. I don't really think he did it for his own personal gain.
I don't think so neither, but I think with him, I think it's more so he has not sophisticated his methodology of how he go about this. It it really is the same Ice Cube.
Yeah.
And normally he's almost was he how old is Cube? Is he in his 50s?
I'm that you're gonna have to really you're gonna make me Google
Or
that because I'm gonna have to
or
find out.
close to it. 1991 Ice Cube ain't the same.
Oh yeah, he's
It's the
51.
same 50 21-year-old Ice Cube is still mentally stuck in the same like I think was it Khalifa Abdul Muhammad that he was rolling with heavy
Yeah.
when he was yeah, that's that type of, and that's one thing I don't think Q intentionally set to be like, nah, I'm gonna fuck over black folk.
No.
I'm gonna get mine. But I think the execution was just wrong. And it's kind of like, bro, it's 2-3 weeks before election.
Mm-hmm.
And you wonder, well, the Democrats said that they ain't want to meet after the election. So we coming with a list of demands. And it's kind of like, it just, at worst, at best, it's benign ignorance. And at worst, it's like willful ignorance. It's like, okay, you choosing to just ignore all of the signs because it's like you dealing with a man in Donald Trump that is extremely selfish, lies constantly, and for example, what a damn wall at. You know what I'm saying? And
well, he said Mexico was gonna pay for it. They said hell no.
Mexico ain't dropped a dime, and so, and on top of all of this, it's kind of like you dealing with somebody, bro. That's just he doesn't have the mental capacity to really, really, really like. I just don't think that he's not the type of dude that you would want to sit with.
Now, does it make it different that it's Trump? Like, let's say Trump out of it. Like, let's say if it was another president, like maybe this was 20 years ago.
If this was Mitt Romney or John McCain,
he met with Bush.
To be fair, personally, I don't trust no. I would not trust the man that created the No Child Left Behind law.
But that's the thing, is like, but it depends.
Or the Patriot Act.
Because then would it make a difference if it was after the election? At that point, let's say as after the election, Lord forbid, Trump wins, and at that point we stuck with him for 4 years.
You just said it best, Lord forbid.
But like, but if he had that meeting with him, because now we have to figure something out. Now we have to deal with this motherfucker for 4 more years.
I think that's the issue too. Like, nah, we don't have to deal with this cat. And I think that the best thing you can do under another 4 years of Donald Trump, to be honestly, is survive. And that's the thing. Like
is like because I think that's the biggest part of this is that we can't just survive, because it's just going to be another case. It's just going to be another like shooting. It's going to be another Flint, Michigan. It's going to be more situations where we're taking advantage of. We've hit the streets. We've burnt down buildings. We've protested for months and months and months, and we don't get any results. And we've been protesting for years. We've been marching for years. We've been trying to like appeal to a humanity of people that ain't got no humanity. We have to speak to them on their level. At some point we have to speak to them on their level, because working on our level, working on a higher frequency ain't really getting to nobody, and it ain't changing anything for nobody.
True. But my whole thing is, man, I am not working with man, I wouldn't go to David Duke and be like, man, hey man, how can we look, man, look, bro, we here now. We gotta be here. That man ain't got a bone in his body that's willing to do anything remotely helpful for black people. Even if we, if we feel like we want to demand, if we demand this and we blah, 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 that man ain't got a bone in his body. And I wouldn't trust him as far as I could throw him. To go meet with him, and I'm not calling Q a sellout or anything like that, because I think to call somebody a coon and sellout, what I've really learned is those are very, very strong words to use with somebody. And I don't want to just label anybody a coon / sellout. I try to be careful. Even if
Like,
my
I hate
gut
that
is
whole
right.
cancel thing. Like, it's just people want to cancel Cube, even though Cube has done so much. He's been on the front lines. Like, he's been vocal about this stuff. I just had
Look,
the episode about Lil Baby a couple weeks ago, and how
that was
he dropped one song. Everybody tried to anoint him the most conscious rapper of all time, and
that
then
was such a mistake.
when the heat hit him, he just said, "Oh no, I'm not doing this political shit no more." He made his
And I
money in the moment when everybody's emotions was high and everybody wanted to listen to music like that. At that point, he took
right.
advantage. He got a #1 hit, and then once it wasn't selling no more, he dipped. Ice Cube has been on he's been on this consistently since NWA in the 80s.
Hey, I'm glad you brought up Lil Baby, because it made me think about how rappers are using this. And
They
when
know
I
people in Starbucks.
when I first when I hey, when I first read the Lil Baby headline,
Mm-hmm.
to be I was mad. I was like, what? Then I thought about it. Typically, that's not who he is as an artist. And I feel like if an artist is compelled to make something when the stakes are high, and he feel like, from his perspective, which I greatly appreciate and respect it. And I think that was more so a product of, he felt now people are looking at him to speak on these things, and he's kind of, I thought it was more so, I think he worded it wrong. I think he's more so saying that that's not who I am. So I'm not going to continuously make this type of music, and I don't want you to think that you need to expect that from me.
Well, he need
And
to
I
get
think
out of
it's
the way
kind of
then.
like
He should have get out of the way in the first. It's kind of like with people talking about Cube. It's like people saying this is not your place. You don't know what you're doing. I feel like Lil Baby at the same time. He don't know what he doing. He don't know the magnitude of this. He need to just stick to the bullshit that he was rapping about before, and he need the higher, more politically defining things that he want to put in music. He need to stay. If you don't, it's kind of like anything you do in life. Like, you can't make an action without expecting a reaction.
And bro, with Q, this is the same dude. Q career always amazes me, number one.
Mm-hmm.
Because white America, for a large part, had kind of accepted Q. And I was like, yo, this is the same dude that had Uncle Sam in a morgue,
With a toe
toe
tag
tag.
on the album cover.
He made a song called "I Want to Kill Sam." He made a
Mm-hmm.
song called oh man, the one
Well,
thing
shoot,
that
fuck the
hasn't left
police.
Q, the one, and I know a lot of people are using that, but I will say the one thing, I did see a tweet, man, that was like Dr. Dre and MC Ren was right all along. I was like, yo, I was like, if you really want to look at it like that, I was like, ooh.
Yeah, you really put it
But
right, yeah.
this is the same guy. Definitely, and at the height of, because you could look at a lot of artists that did those records. You could look at a Public Enemy, a Cube, X Clan, the Native Tongues to a degree. A lot of those early '90s acts at the height of Afrocentrism and all of this in hip hop, where it was supremely prevalent. Everybody was rocking African medallion chains and everything like that. And once Wu Tang and Biggie and them took over, I mean, it died off. But you know, I think it's so funny that a guy like Q
Mm-hmm.
that's made some of the music he's made, and damn, it's like that. I'm trying to get my point back. I'm like, I had something I was gonna hit them in they dome with, but I think it was interesting that Q is, I guess, I went back and listened to Death Certificate, and I was like, man, this is insane. The one thing that's never left Q was
Mm-hmm.
the anti-Semitism. I would have been thought they would have got him out the paint. Cube, I was like, when he went on that tweet spree, when he was tweeting all those, you can say weird photos, and he was like, I'm dropping facts, and this is the Jews got all the money. We need to get there. You know, this is it. This is the same guy that he smoked easy for being a plus one to a presidential dinner with
Mm-hmm.
Jerry Heller and the first Bush.
He did do that.
He smoked easy on no Vaseline. I never have dinner with the president. I never have dinner with the president. He smoked easy. And now it's kind of like you meeting with.
Well, I guess technically he didn't have dinner. He had a meeting.
Apparently, Easy just went to eat dinner, and he just so happened to be he's with Jerry, and he just so happened to be the president was there, and this
Mm-hmm.
is just this dinner. Easy was like, I'm just kicking it with a guy called a friend who's helped me make all this money. It's like Cube is coming in with an agenda, and he's coming in with the demand, and it's kind of like
Right.
for somebody that's well, I was like, I never would have thought that it would have came to that for Cube and the type of artist he is, and
But it's kind of on brand. Like, I mean,
it
though he's been
that's the
talking
funny
about
part.
this since the beginning of the summer when everything kicked off before the anti-Semitism tweets. He was talking about, yo, we need a plan. We need to demand like value for our vote. We need something out of this. They barely even mentioned black people. And
And
we
the
got
crazy
like
part is,
18
mm-hmm.
seconds at the at the debate. We got 18 seconds about what we got going on. And it's like, I mean, I know people are mad at Q, but I don't think he thought it all the way through. Maybe he was trying to rush and put it together before the election. Maybe he thought right before the election was a good time. But I will say that he's done more than a lot of motherfuckers that's just organized like
Mm-hmm.
marches and like, I mean, I remember in June, Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton was talking. Well, I think it was just Al Sharpton. They were talking about doing a march on Washington in August, and I'm just like, what is that doing? Like, my first thought was just like, yo, ain't nobody coming up with no plan. Like, he's saying he want demands, and everybody not a fan of it, but I'm not about to just go out there and take some pictures with some signs and get hit with some rubber bullets. Just the end of, like, we don't have no follow through. There's no demand for anything. We're just gonna say we're just gonna shout it out, but there ain't no formal contracts, there's no meetings, there's no nothing. Like I there's some leaders that are actually doing that. I feel like they need to, instead of bashing Cube, they need to help him refine his plan. They need to get together with him and say, hey, brother, we see what you're doing. It's not all the way there, but we need to help you get it there.
But it's kind of like a lot of those details that we don't know. We don't know if somebody like a Reverend Barber, who's head of the North Carolina NAACP and who has a pretty prominent voice in Black civil rights in America these days. We don't know if he may have reached out. We don't know if Cube may have reached out. We don't know if Cube has rejected these things. And Cube is just like, I don't take Cube to be that type of guy, but it's kind of like and like the mention of no black women. It's kind of like, bro, you can't. Like, yo, it's like, what's up, dog? And the crazy part is, I'm not saying a lot of Cube music was also rooted in misogyny. And I mean, and I think there's a lot of things, like we had an impasse, I believe. I was talking to my homegirl, bro. I think hip hop is at an impasse about the politicizing just the music in general, the reckoning hip hop is under, I think, is pretty major. And I think that, for a guy like Q, because the podcast I listen to, like, you might like if we pull up Public Enemy's old records,
Mm-hmm.
I don't give a damn how well the Bomb Squad produced them. You might not like what all Chuck D was saying either.
Mm-hmm.
You might not rock with what politically what Chuck was saying, but I think Cube is a guy who is a product of his early 20s and what ideally that he leaned towards politically, and what most cats lean towards politically. And I think that what ended up happening, the older he got, even the more money. It's like, yeah, Cube is still the same guy, but it's kind of like what nothing has really changed. And like you said, I think that Cube should. I keep looking away. I'm just,
Nah, you good.
but I just think I hope that I do think Cube is trying to be in the right place. I just think the timing, and I think who he's meeting with, and this is me speaking objectively, and who he's looking with,
Mm-hmm.
working with, or going to is kind of like, it's like, nah, bro, we not, you going to a dude that probably Q pose is like, yo, this is the worst president in modern history. Easily people feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
And like I don't want no contract or my future in the hands of any man that is like Donald J. Trump at all. And I think that, going to meet, because Kanye can say he had good intentions going to meet with him. We all know it was bullshit, but
But yeah,
people
nah,
feel like
Kanye went into the White House with the MAGA hat on, and he acted
that
like
nigga,
a
that nigga,
fangirl, and like
that
Donald Trump was the
bro.
Beatles or something.
Cuz went in there with and again, Cube never met with Trump from what I've read. It was more so he met with representatives of his campaign because he is the
Right.
president, members of the Republican Party, everything like that. And a lot of people in the Ice Cube tax bracket on the cool are very conservative in nature because of their money and
But
money
not
drive.
Cube though. I've heard
Well,
people
no,
say
no,
that, but it's
no, no,
like
no,
Cube
not
has
Q,
never
nah.
been like that.
And he said on Twitter that he has not endorsed anybody. But man, man, this election has gotten everybody, to me, for good reason. It's such a hypersensitive, because I think we kind of all are aware of like the moment this is, and kind of like this is
It's a
actually
make or break.
this is a.
This is make or break time.
And not saying that I trust Joe Biden either, because I'm voting for Joe. I'm going Tuesday when I'm off to go vote. But Joe's policy and history with Black America, he's saying, I don't give a damn if he was the VP for Barack. This is
Mm-hmm.
a dude that came up. His mentor was a racist by the name of Strom Thurmond.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, it's like It's like everybody, please. I'm urging you, please go vote. It is very critical. It's
Yeah.
important. I don't give a damn if you're mad at Q. I don't give a damn if you're mad at your mama, your papa, your grandmama, Trump, Biden. Man, please vote to get this man. It is imperative because he is literally putting this country in. He's putting lives at danger. If this corona, if COVID-19 didn't tell you, we in a Zoom meeting because of COVID.
Basically, yeah. This show completely
If
changed because of COVID.
if you not it, go vote, man. It is extremely, extremely, extremely important. You might vote with a screwed up face. I don't really want to vote for these months, but please fill out the ballot. Vote for Joe Biden. I mean, it is. I don't think I can honestly stress enough how important this is. No matter if celebrities, rappers, or whatever, botching moments or everything like that. Or we need everybody, we need everything that we can get out of this election, and we need it now. Because without it, man, we're going to be in a lot of trouble, and we're going to be in grave danger. And I pray and I hope, man, that that we just shooting the shit because we really, like you said, we hadn't really delved deep into what is going on. This is kind of reactionary
Mm-hmm.
because everything is so fresh. The news cycle is fresh. I think Q said that he was supposed to be interviewed with Chris Como. I think it might be tonight that he's going live, being interviewed by Chris Como. He did an interview with Roland Martin. Did you see that?
Well, Lamar, yeah, I did see that.
What did you think about that?
Um, I have very conflicting feelings about Roland Martin. Um, in general, sometimes he be on point. Sometimes he can come off like a condescending asshole. Um, and I think there were certain points where Q was blatantly saying that no, I don't support Donald Trump. No, this was for the intention of trying to help Black America in our very disadvantaged
Mhm.
situation. And Roland Martin was, you know, because he did bring up some interesting points. Like that's where I got the Black women were admitted from the plan. So that was an interesting point. But then a lot of the stuff he was saying, or a lot of the stuff he came back to Cube with, was very condescending. It's almost like he completely misheard his responses and just went off on, well, you realize this is who you're dealing with. You're not a politician. Like it was a lot of that, and I don't.
Mhm.
So I have a very sometimes he be on point, like I will say that, but like a lot of times he's just a condescending, and I feel like he's like that with Black people that he don't agree with. We're like Black people we don't agree with. Black people got a problem with. He's very condescending because I don't think he has real points when they aren't there. He just know he don't like.
And that interview was just interesting. I ain't gonna go too much into detail what I thought really because I didn't take anything away from it
Mm-mm.
outside of the Black woman thing with the plan, and I didn't take anything away from it outside of it. Just seems to me that Q was like, "Yeah, we need a plan. Let me think of something right quick." And I don't think there was anything concrete that he felt like he was going into with, and he was like, he felt like, I don't see nobody else doing nothing. I'm gonna try to step up and use my voice and my platform and try to meet with these people. And it's kind of like,
That's why I give him an E for effort. It's just kind of like,
mm-hmm,
because yeah, it may not have been the best, but I don't see any of these other so-called leaders or people of influence.
mm.
They don't step up and do anything but speak at the events and get on the bus and go home.
And too, there's a reason why why the Republicans, the Dems, like, we're trying to focus on the election,
Mhm.
which makes sense. Like, after the
I mean,
election,
yeah, because like right
let's talk.
now, and that's one thing I meant to bring up earlier is that yeah, they told you that 'cause they ain't got no power, they ain't got no real stake in this game right now. They could say,
Cause,
yeah, we agree, we got you, and then
cause,
they
yeah,
they can't pull through because they ain't got no type of. They trying to see how the Senate go. They trying to see how the seats at the House of Representatives go. They trying to see what the presidency looks like. Like we
and
trying to
and
figure out like where we gonna be at after November.
and of course the Republicans, they're gonna meet with you because you see the polls, you see how the election for them is sliding,
Mm-hmm.
and it's kind of like, so to be like, hey, we got Ice Cube, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Look, how when old boy 45 was like, look at my little African American friend.
Yeah.
Look who we got, y'all. Like, look, he trying to work with us. So there's no reason for y'all not to vote for us because we got one of your Black leaders. We got Q, and I'm not calling Q a pawn, but if you look at the bigger picture, that's what it's looking like to a lot of people, and people are
Right.
angry and like, man, Nah, bro, it's like I can't believe that you would get used for that purpose. Like, man, fuck that. Like, that's
I
bullshit, bro.
mean,
And
there's a misstep, I will say. I feel like his intentions was right, but I don't think he jumped out in front of it before they could use it and twist it in their advantage and try to
because you
use
see,
it.
they immediately came out and was like, soon as they was like, yeah, Cube down with us, y'all.
Yeah. Of
Before
course,
Cube could
they
even
ain't really
respond
got
or
they
say
ain't got too
anything.
many friends. They ain't got too many, especially not black. They ain't got too many people like endorsing them publicly.
And that's why if
They
you want to
had to
look at
try
this
to
from
take advantage. I mean, shoot, they had Kanye, and Kanye said, "Bump y'all, I'm gonna run on my own."
and that's why if you look at what's bad, if you try to look at with such a cheery outlook of what Cube did, it's kind of like at best it's like benign ignorance. It's like, all I didn't know. But it's like, bro, you're a pretty intelligent guy. You should know. These people,
But that's
they
the
jump.
thing,
I
like
mean,
because sometimes you have to jump out there. Like that's one of the things
mhm,
he said. Ain't nobody else doing anything,
but not
and
now. It's like not now, bro. You can
but like
please
when?
wait.
Because people felt the same way. Like if it was after the election and
I
Trump
would
was in
say,
office, people would still be upset.
in all objectivity, if you wanted to do that, then in all objectivity, I would look at Cube like what? But I would be like, at least he did it when there's not no stakes at there's no stakes for you to because it's
But
now it's like
then,
it
I mean, at
creates.
that point too, it's like he's like because you think about it after the election, Trump gets a second term, he's gonna be feeling untouchable. So he ain't got to bend to nobody's demands. Like we could come up with a plan that's beneficial on our
It's
side if he not feeling it, and we know that his decision making has been the absolute worst in
that's why I'm
every
like,
aspect of his job. Like he probably look at that plan and toss it back at him like get this nigga out of my office. And at that point, he's
man,
untouchable. He don't care at that point.
hey,
I mean, they tried
that's
to
why
impeach him and it didn't work. And he
we
was
knew it
on
won't.
solid. We knew it wasn't gonna work, but it's like
Eh,
you've already tried to impeach him once. That failed. If he wins the election, he ain't got to bend to nobody's will,
it's,
black or otherwise.
I just this all
So
just
maybe he
pisses
was
me.
trying to jump in front of it, like, hey, like we're trying to see what you respond to this, and then maybe black people. Like, I mean, I know it's a long shot. It was far fetched, but maybe it was like, yo, what if this dude just turns around and says, oh, okay, because there's a lot of people who think that they can reach. Well, maybe they just don't know. Maybe these white people are in a bubble. Like I know a lot of people were saying that about people that were out in the protesting. Like there were more white people because they ain't got nothing else to do. They ain't got nowhere to go. They have no choice but to see something they could have just flipped the channel on and
Right.
they didn't have to pay attention to. Like no, maybe it was kind of that place of, oh well, maybe he just don't know. But I don't know. That's not the case because I feel like he's been well exposed to black culture. Like you see, before he was president, before he was talking to Greasy like he do now, he was always like partying and hanging out with like other black
Mm.
celebrities, rich black folks, like in business and stuff like that.
You
So
said the key word, rich. Money knows money.
right,
Money shares space with money. And in this country, it's
that was
capitalism
Q's
at its
plan. He
finest.
wanted to try to get us into that because other races of people have way more wealth to kind of be able to dictate and call the shots, and we don't have the disposable income.
I think
We
that's
don't have the buying, like we have the buying power, but we don't keep it within our, like people talk about black businesses, we don't keep that power in our thing, so we don't have any type of infrastructures to fall back on because we don't
it
have the
is
money and the capital and the infrastructure to really play these games. People think that
it
it's like humanity.
mhm.
It's not going to be speaking to people's humanity. It's speaking to people's pockets. These people only know money. That's and so marching out in the street trying to say, "Hey, y'all, we're human. We're here. We see that." They don't care. All they see is green. They don't even care about. They don't even care about each other, let alone care
I
about
think
us.
I don't even think they care that we get our own paper. What I think they do care about is when they get their own shit so up. when they start to realize that the cost.
That's the thing is like tax money and like insurance and all the other stuff take care of that. They just gonna be it's mildly inconvenienced, but this is gonna be our situation right after those buildings and everything are put back up.
Capitalism has doomed us in a lot of ways, man. Capitalism has really fucked up so many of us, and it's really in this country is just capitalism is inherently evil, and yet we all thrive and benefit because of it. But unfortunately, that's just the system that we in. And you got a man that's low key trying to really just bring in fascism into this country. And man, I don't like the idea that money is the grounds that we need to stand on. It's like, man, bro, it's nasty out here, bro. It's disgusting out here, bro.
It's bad, man. It's bad. But yo, like we go ahead and wrap this up because we've gone way over the time. But this is a good combo. I'm gonna keep all this in. But any like final words you want to close us out with?
Take your asses out and go vote.
Facts.
That's all I got to say.
Hey, yo, where can they follow you at, bro?
You can follow me on any social media. Not Black Planet, though. At Southside Jus, SOUTHSIDEJUS. Rest in peace, Kobe, and go Lakers.
Facts, man. And yo, make sure y'all like the video, subscribe, share it. Let me know how y'all feel about the conversation in the comment section below. And, you know, tell us what you think about this whole Cube situation. But until next time, it's your boy Vinnie-Dangerous. This has been Dangerous Minds. Until next time, much love.
Peace.
Check. I put highs on all of my lows. I said fire to all of my foes. I've been down, but on my 10 toes. You cannot stop me, we coming in droves. You moving too slow, the fuck on the road. I'm in the yo, that's why this so cold. I know that they want it, they can't have my